Wait for the Lord. It's not easy to wait. This is what we talked about last week. Waiting to buy something you want is heavy. It's not easy to wait. We know this because you can go buy things now and pay for them later. You don't want to raise your hands, but how many of you have used MasterCard to get something now because you didn't want to wait till later? I said, don't raise your hands. Guilty! Me! This word is for me. I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait. Waiting is hard. Waiting is hard. Waiting is heavy weighted. That's what we talked about last week. Waiting to graduate, Evelyn, where you can finally only read the books that you want to read. Nobody telling you, read this book, and you're like, oh, I don't want to read this. Josie, now you're at a spot. I don't have to. I read whatever I want to read. She graduated. She's not. You're not under the man anymore. Now you can read whatever books you want to read. You can still do that to this day. If you're a student, you'll just fail. But waiting to find the job that then becomes the career, it's challenging. I got to get a job, and then I got to step into a career. Those are two different things. And the more that we spend time with interns and young adults and students of like learning how to navigate the difference between a job and a career, and the necessity to start working earlier so that you can then learn what jobs are so you can step into your career, helps people not wait till they're 30 years old to figure out what they're going to do with their life. Because waiting is hard. Psalms 25 verse 3 says, no one who trusts in you will ever be disgraced. But disgrace comes to those who try to deceive others. And what it's really talking about is those who deceive themselves, who make up reasoning, who don't even think through the longevity of the decisions that they're making. They don't truly trust in the Lord. They just kind of trust in the wind. It'll all work out. The psalmist is saying, hey, that doesn't actually work out in the end. Isaiah 40 verse 31 says, those who trust in the Lord will find new strength. Both these words that are listed as trusts go back to the Hebrew of those who wait. No one who waits on the Lord will ever be disgraced. Isaiah chapter 40 verse 31, those who wait on the Lord will find new strength. We kind of dissected this word wait because there's different Hebrew definitions for this word wait. And you can talk about waiting. I am waiting for Barbara to have a baby. But me waiting and her waiting are two completely different experiences. Frank will stand next to her during the labor pains and he'll be waiting. And his waiting is significantly different than her waiting. I just can't wait for that. He's all like, yeah, baby, the baby's coming, we can wait. We trust in the Lord and wait. And she's all like, no, I can't wait for this baby. There's a difference in waiting, and the waiting that we're talking about is enduring long, 20-hour suffering. The long suffering that births what God is trying to develop in our lives. And so Isaiah says, those who wait on the Lord will find new strength. We talked about this last week, the necessity for you to prioritize waiting on the Lord. Like every day, Pastor, why do you always talk about spending time with the Lord? Because you can't handle your day without him. The Bible says that he has given you everything you need. Jesus confirms that he's given you a gift. And if we go outside of that and don't operate in the gift that he has given us, then we don't have what we truly need. Those who wait will be brave and courageous. That's what the Bible says, that we should be brave and courageous, which would then mean that those who don't wait will not be brave and courageous. What does this mean to be brave and courageous? What does this mean to wait? To some, Gabe, this means to sit idle and just wait. Like a parent tells their kid to wait. They expect them just to stand there and wait. To some other parents, they tell their kids to wait, and what that means is go clean your room while you wait. We define these differently based on our own upbringing of what it means to wait. Let's look at this a little bit. For Mary, to wait on the Lord was to wait on the Lord, to sit at his feet, to wait on the Lord, to absorb his presence and to be with him, to wait on the Lord. For Martha, to wait on the Lord was to wait on the Lord. Y'all didn't catch that? To serve the Lord, to wait on the Lord. I'm waiting on the Lord. Mary is waiting on the Lord. It's just so good to be with Jesus. Martha is waiting on the Lord. Mary, do something. We're waiting on him. We're serving him. And I want to confirm to you today that you will wait or you will wait, but you need to wait. Both are appropriate, and you will either wait on the Lord or you will wait on the Lord, but you got to do one of them. Every season requires you to wait on the Lord or to wait on the Lord. For kicks, in case I lost you somewhere down the road, waiting, taking time, waiting, serving like a waiter. So we're going to use those interchangeably. Are they spelled correctly? Are they spelled the same way? Wait, like who? Why? I don't get it. Whatever. They should spell it differently. Mary waited on the Lord. Martha waited on the Lord. And I want to share with you the necessity to wait on the Lord and to define that in two different ways and to ask ourselves, how do we wait? How do we wait physically, practically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually? What does that look like? It's easy to criticize the believer on how they wait, but the question is not how you wait. The question is the way you are waiting what Christ expects you to do? For Mary, Christ expected her to wait the way she was waiting. Martha, you need to wait like Mary. In that moment, in that season, in that situation, this is a moment where you should be sitting under the covering of Christ and just waiting. It was not the same wait as the disciples were waiting for Jesus to come back, and the angel says, well, why are you waiting? You need to go wait on people. There is a moment where you wait, and then there's a moment where you serve. And we have to be asking ourselves, is this the moment to wait on Jesus by sitting at his feet, or wait on Jesus by being the living example of who he is? You with me? Is he expecting you to wait, sit, pray, worship, sleep, lay on your left side for 390 days and only eat bread? That's what Ezekiel did. I'm calling you to wait. And I want you to lay on your your left side for 390 days and only eat bread. And so Ezekiel says, all right, I'm going to wait by laying on my left side and doing nothing. I'm going to wait. Is that what he's calling you to do? Is Christ calling you to wait, to eat and sleep, for the journey ahead of you will be great? Because that's what he tells Elijah. Ezekiel wasn't told to eat and sleep for his journey was going to be great. And this isn't a good great. This is like, it's going to be hard. It's going to be heavy. It's going to be heavy weighted. That's not Tony the Tiger. Great. No. This is it's going to be rough, Elijah. So eat and sleep. The definition of wait for Elijah was eat and sleep, for the journey ahead of you will be great. The definition for Ezekiel to wait was to lay on the left side for 390 days. What is the direction for you that Christ has on your life when he calls you to wait? But both will be either waiting for the Lord's presence or waiting on the Lord. You're going to wait, but it's just defining what that looks like, and we're going to go into that here. When King David encourages us to wait here in Psalms, he's calling us to be brave and courageous, because waiting is heavy weighted, and it's not for the weak. It's just not. It's not for those who don't know how to wait. Jesus calls his disciples to wait for the Spirit. He knew the journey would require something, that sleeping, that eating, that good vibes, good words wouldn't. What you are about to experience, you're not even ready for. But see, here is where the disciples were, Mia. They had saw Jesus die. They saw Jesus come back. They're physically seeing Jesus move. They saw him do miracles. They're just like, you're it. We know that you're it. We will die for you. We're ready to go tell everybody. And Jesus says, you don't even have it yet. You don't have the capability to get your life together. You don't. You don't have the capability to fix your marriage. You don't have the capability to stay out of debt. You don't have it within you. The only way you will get there is if you wait for the Spirit to ascend and to be within you. And when he is within you, then you can go do what Christ has called you to do, because it'll be like if Christ is within you. The disciples were like, dude, we don't need anything else. We got you. And Jesus is like, you don't actually. Because if you don't receive my Spirit, you don't actually have me. You have me here, but you don't have me here. And that is where we're stuck. because way too many Christians see waiting as a problem. And I want to draw the attention to the word wait, because we're called every day to wait on Jesus and to wait on Jesus. And we got to ask ourselves, are we called right now to be a Martha that waits and sits? Are we called to be a Mary that sits, or a Martha that serves? The other day, Amaya, Victoria, we're chilling, driving down the road. You know, not everybody gets to, we talk about Spider-Man, you know, not everybody gets to like hang out with their pastor. I don't know if you know that. Like, that's not a normal thing. I'm gonna go pastor's house. Like, that's just not, I'm blessed. I'm blessed by that, because at some point, like, we probably won't be there. But that's where we are right now, and I'm blessed. I'm gonna hold on to it as long as I can. But we're driving down the road, and we start talking about Spider-Man, and I'm a Spider-Man fan. I like Spider-Man, you know. She was talking about how she saw Spider-Man, and then it ended on the cliffhanger, and she had to wait. She was eager to see what was going to happen next, because, for the spoiler alert, for those of you who don't know about Spider-Man, he gets outed and everybody knows it's Peter Parker. And so then he erases everybody's memory, and then now his girl doesn't know him, his best friend doesn't know him, and then it ends, and you're just like, no, Peter's life is over. You know, it's how Peter felt when his Messiah, you know, but very different, but, you know, if we're looking at it climactically. And so she had to wait years. I just don't live that life. When I know that there's going to be movies and like a lot of movies, I just wait so that I can see Infinity Wars, and then I can see Endgame. And I don't have to wait. That's how I operate. I don't want to have to wait. So when we go out on a date, Aubrey and I eat before I go. I don't want to have to wait to eat. I want to eat. I want to be happy. I want to be joyful on our date. And the only way I'm going to be joyful is to pull out some snacks and eat, and like, oh, we can wait, because I don't like waiting. This is kind of where our thoughts go, because we don't like waiting. We don't want to wait, so we find ways to not have to wait, because waiting is a problem. Waiting for internet to load is a problem. Waiting for meal is a problem. We view waiting as a problem, so then when we're called to wait, we automatically say, waiting is defined by 5 minutes, 15 minutes. Devotionals are set to operate within a 15-minute span. They condition and categorize them to work with people's schedule. People can only sit for so long, so let's make devotionals that can fit within their time frame. So I'm not against devotionals, but I'm slightly against the timing that we set for devotionals. Like, I just got to get this out of the way, because I need to wait. But that's not truly waiting. What is truly waiting? Truly waiting is when you like somebody and you're waiting for them to call. Truly waiting is when the boss says, hey, I'll give you a call to let you know about the position, and you're just like, all you're thinking about is just, when are they going to call me? When are they going to call me? When are they going to call me? That's the anticipation and the desire to like truly wait. Like, do we wait for the Lord's presence that way? Our brains are super crazy, because we're always being trained to think. This is why we are spending Wednesday nights kind of talking about your thoughts. But you're always being conditioned, always being trained in the way that you're thinking. This is why reading the Word is so crucial, because you will automatically, by default, form narratives and perspectives in your head without any help of anybody. Automatically. The way that you think about anything and everything will be formed by your own perspectives and narratives. Then you read the Word, and you're met with the battle of having to change the way you think. I have to make a decision now, because the Word calls me to love people that I'd rather not love. Yeah. Reading the Word is crucial. Has you looking at your spouse different, your kids different, your work different. Work like if you're working for the Lord. I don't want to work that way, because I hate my job. I love my job. But maybe that's you. Like, why would I want to view it that way? Well, because God calls you to view it that way. We watched a movie. It's called Her, Mine, and Ours. It's a good movie. It's a cute movie. I like it. Anybody seen it? Her, Mine, and Ours? I encourage you. Yours, mine, and ours. I'm disconnected from the world, so I don't know. I'm just kidding. Okay, it's a great movie because it'll give you, Evangeline, an illustration of Aubrey and Gurmo lifestyles prior and then how they collide. But here's the deal. I'm struggling. We struggle. Like, we got different tips that we she's just different and she's wrong in everything that she does. And so, and that's my perspective. And so we watched this movie, Hamilton, and 2 hours later, they love each other. We're always being trained and conditioned. 2 hours later, they were at odds with each other, and somehow the Full House moment happens, and then they close the book, and it's just like everything is good. I watched Frozen, hurt, betrayal, rejection. 2 hours later, they're reconciled. Oh my God, like people almost killing each other, and then 2 hours later, it's like this all makes sense. We love each other. Siblings are like, oh, Elsa, oh, Anna, Somewhere in there, she finds a guy who likes her, and it's like, wow, like things just worked out. You read the Bible. Let's get Disney out of the way. You read the Bible, 6 pages, 4 chapters of Joseph, and you're just like, wow, look at how the Lord redeemed so fast. Like, wow, God just took him from like slavery into the palace, and he is like, wow. That only took 15 minutes of my read time. So without recognizing it, we're conditioned to automatically assume that our wait is supposed to be short. Not 17 years. Not 20 years. Not 40 years. Talking about Moses. Out from the palace in the wilderness. 40 years later, God chooses to use him. Talking about in your 80s, having a baby. How long am I supposed to wait for things to change? I don't define wait. But the Bible says that you need to be brave and courageous, because only the brave and the courageous will truly wait. It'll expose how brave you are. The Bible says wait. It says be brave and courageous. Waiting is not for the weak, it's for the meek. Those with control will wait. Those who recognize the need for waiting will wait. They do studies, psychological studies with kids at different ages, and normally it's between 6 and like 9, and they'll do one at 6 years old, and they'll say you can have $5 right now, or you can wait 30 days and I'll give you $500. And normally 6-year-olds will be like $5 without like they don't have to think about it. Like, why would I wait? 5, instant gratification. And then you do it to a 9-year-old, and all of a sudden it's like wait. 5, 0, 0. They know nothing about decimals, but they're just like, wait. You're telling me if I wait more? Somewhere along the way, we've just forgot that mentality that God says if you wait more. We're so consumed with, I don't want to wait. I'd rather not wait. Jesus says to his disciples, before you go do all you're called to do, will you do me this favor and just wait for the gift? And the gift is not what you think. The gift is a spirit who unlocks everything you need to navigate your day and your call. We talked about this last week. The disciples are like, so you're the Messiah, and you're like, forget that gift. We want this gift. What are you waiting for? You waiting for what you want, or are you waiting for the Lord to unlock what he desires in your life? And that's true waiting. An I-centered relationship will wait for what they want. A Christ-centered relationship will wait for what he wants. Pastor, we are with you. Give me a high five if you're with me. You agree with waiting. I love it. I want to give you 4 keys to encourage you to wait patiently. 4 keys. Why do we need 4 keys to unlock one door? It's a great question. 4 keys. 4 keys. Number 1, worship. Worship him. How do you unlock the ability to wait patiently? You have to be intentional in how you worship. You have to worship him. John chapter 4, verse 23, Jesus is having a conversation. He gives me on the screen when you're ready. Having a conversation with a Samaritan woman. And they're going back and forth. And he tells her that there will be a time where they don't worship just to worship. He says that you will worship in spirit and in truth. And the Father is looking for those who will truly worship him. Worship him in a song and worship him by how you interact with others. The Father is looking for your attitude of worship. Is our active response in our waiting positive? When Aubrey tells me dinner is going to be later and I have to wait, I'm not waiting, woman. I just spent hours. I'm not waiting. It's 5:45. Okay, the Father, did he find appropriate worship in that response? I want to unlock waiting. Waiting means worshiping him, and sometimes doing that in songs is beneficial. But how do we get the hand of God to move? It is not by crying out to him in suffering. I heard a preacher say, you cannot out-suffer the sufferer. We can't move the Lord by saying, no, Jesus knows suffering. You can't be like, my suffering is greater than Christ. No. Jesus knows suffering, and he's not going to be moved by suffering, but he'll be moved by songs of praise. He'll be moved by your worship. He'll be moved by your adoration. He'll be moved by your thanksgiving. Joshua did not sit at the wall. He didn't wait by sitting. He walked in silence, and all the people saw. I think God is doing something. I don't know what's about to happen, but them Israelites are moving. I don't know what's happening. If I was inside Jericho, I'd be flipping out day 4. Dude, something. Why are they walking around so quiet? What are they doing? They're not even carrying a sword. Like what do people look at your life and can they see you waiting? Can they see, man, God is actively doing something by just acknowledging what is happening around you? David sat at the wall seeking the God that he served for healing of his son. I'm not coming against sitting and waiting. One didn't sit and moved and was silent. Another one sat and was silent. And then he got up and he went to worship. I'm not coming against physical sitting, physical waiting. We just cannot forget the waiting releases. And the waiting leads us to worship. And as you wait, you should be worshiping. Your day should start off with worship. What are you doing? I'm just waiting. What are you doing? I'm just waiting. What are you doing? I'm just waiting. And so what are you doing when you're actually waiting? What does that look like? What does that look like? Man, I'm going to worship the Lord while I wait. Number two, you got to acknowledge the roles. While I'm waiting, I have to acknowledge what the Lord is doing, and I have to acknowledge what I need to be doing. I need to acknowledge the roles. What role am I supposed to play in the waiting? The reason I'm highlighting it this way, Mary was waiting, Martha was waiting, and they were operating in 2 distinct roles and positions. Which one am I supposed to be doing in this waiting? Am I supposed to be sitting and waiting at the feet of Jesus and not go to work and take 4 weeks off and just sit here and pray? Or am I supposed to be waiting and continue to go serve? All right, well, as I'm waiting, I'm acknowledging the role. Revelations 3:20. Don't get scared because we're going to Revelations. Revelations 3:20. Jesus says, look, I stand at the door and knock. All right. I'm waiting on Jesus. Jesus, I'm waiting on you. Jesus, I'm waiting. Jesus is waiting for you to walk to the door and unlock it. My role and his role, Revelations 3, he's at the door. That's his role. He is knocking for anyone who has ears to hear and lets him in, and he'll transform. He's at the door. He's knocking. Jesus is there. He is waiting. My role is to get myself up, go to the door, unlock it, and allow him to come in. Well, I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to wait for God to do what he does. Well, God already did what he was supposed to do. I don't know if you know this, but 2,000 years ago, Jesus came on the earth and he walked around. I don't know if you know this or not, Josie, but then he carried your transgressions. That's the big word for sin, your wrongdoings, and he paid the penalty for your. I don't know if you know this or not, but after he died a sinner's death and died for your sins, he then was resurrected to new life because death. Y'all know this, right? Y'all know this. Okay, after that, he sends the Spirit to now live among you, within you. You got to acknowledge your role. Christ is standing at the door. He is knocking. The word says if, condition. His love is unconditional, but he has conditions because every relationship has conditions. Yeah. Every relationship has conditions. Jesus says, if you hear my voice and open the door, bruh, I'm coming in. I'm not going to barge in because the reality is, it's your life. And as a believer, I say, no. It's not my life. It's yours. Every day, I'm acknowledging my role. My role isn't to be my Lord. My role is to allow my Lord in. So I'm going to go to that door, and I'm going to make sure there is nothing locked. And then he comes in, and we share a meal together as friends. I'm going to acknowledge the role. Christ desires to come in and to speak freely. Do we desire to let him in to speak freely? Do we view his role, Christ's role, as a waiter and we're just a client who is always right? I want to highlight if you ever share a Bible story and you're just like, man, I don't really know what you're talking about, come let me know and I'll give you the reference. But I tend to talk really freely, like if you know what I'm talking about. And so if you don't feel judged by that. Just be like, man, I had no idea what you're talking about. Saul, there's a king, his name is Saul, and he did not acknowledge the right role. He wanted to go to war. His role as the king was to lead them in battle, but his role was to not bless the battle. And so he was called to wait. You're nodding your heads. I think you're with me. He was called to wait. He was just supposed to wait. He was waiting on a guy named Samuel, and Samuel's role was to say, forward, whatever Samuel did, and he get the rams and the blood and all that, and that would bless the battle. And Saul was just like, Samuel's taking too long. People are hungry. I'm hungry. I see them. We're ready. They're ready. Can we just go? Can we just take matters into our own hands? Who really needs like a priest? Who really needs to ask pastor a question? Who really needs counsel? Who really needs accountability? I can do this on my own. And so Saul walks out of the role that he was supposed to be in and leads a nation to attack another nation, and it costs him the kingdom. Waiting is important. And so what do you do while you are waiting? You acknowledge your role and God's role. My role is to wait. I'm going to be married right now, and I'm just going to wait. I'm not going to get up and do anything. I'm going to wait. This season calls me to wait. The reality is you can do whatever you want, but God won't bless everything you do. You can do whatever you want. I'm not coming against you. Please hear my heart. I used to say it doesn't bother me. We don't care. But the reality is some of your decisions do affect us. Some of your decisions financially do affect us if you have students here. Some of your decisions maritally do affect us if you have students here. Some of your decisions on what you eat do affect us if you end up in the hospital. So I'm saying, like, I used to be like, it doesn't matter what you do because it doesn't affect us. But the reality is, as a family, what you do affects the family. But if you want God to bless something, then you kind of have to do it God's way. And sometimes that requires clarification from him. And so we wait. And we acknowledge the role that God is calling us to operate in. If we're wanting God's blessing, then we're going to have to make sure we're doing it God's way. Yeah. What is he calling us to do? Is he calling us to sit and do nothing? Which you see that in Scripture. Is he calling you to lay on your side for 390 days and eat bread? You see that. God calls Aubrey to be a mama. She knew that from the get-go. 6 years old. What do you want to do for the rest of your life? I want to be a mom. She goes to school, and school does their thing of work and like trying to get women to like thrive in their ability and their, what do you want to do? You could be anything as a woman. And she's like, I want to be a mom. And right, she was almost kicked out of her public school because she was like promoting like motherhood is amazing. And they rolled their eyes at her, but she was like, no, I know exactly what I want to do. I want to be a mom. Good thing she did not marry the first multi-ethnic person that she ran into. Praise the Lord that she waited. Praise the Lord that she waited. She waited. And we are also grateful. Because a small decision that you make can have an impact far greater than what you could ever imagine. So it's important to wait. Not every boy should be dated. Not every girl should catch your eye. You wait. You wait. You wait. Because that one decision can alter a reality that you never thought it could alter. Whew! I feel like that was preaching, y'all. We're just kind of like, I'm just saying. How do you get out of debt? You ready for these 1, 2, 3s? Give it to you solid. How do you get out of debt? Don't raise your hands if you're in debt. How do you get out of debt? You stop waiting on yourself and you start waiting on the Lord. You stop waiting on yourself. You stop serving yourself and you start serving Him. You tell yourself to wait and you stop telling Him to wait. I don't know of anybody who's ever gone in debt by giving too much to the church. Why are you laughing? I just don't know of anybody who has come to a position of having absolutely nothing and being depressed and stressed. I know a lot of people who've given up everything to glorify the Lord and live on the streets, but they don't complain about it. You know what I'm saying? Like I know of people who have given everything. There are some churches who say you should tithe on debt. Like go pull out a loan, and we don't preach it. We don't even pass baskets for crying out loud. Like God provides, and so whenever I talk about money, please don't hear from the lens of like, Germer, you just want money. No, God doesn't need your money. And respectfully, Aubrey's always telling me to calm down when I talk about money. I don't build this without you. I don't need your money. Sometimes the reason why we're in financial distress is because we waited on ourselves instead of waiting on the Lord. We served ourselves. This is a trap even within the church. In order to do this thing, we need this. If I could just get my hands on $1,000, then I could do this for the church. This is a trap the enemy knows, and he uses it. If Christ has the capability to free us from the depths of hell, I feel pretty confident He could take care of your debt. But it's going to require you to wait. It's going to require you to wait. It's going to require you to acknowledge your role. All right, Father, I'm going to wait this out. But what is my role and what is your role? Take hold of my instructions. This is Proverbs chapter 4:13. Take hold of my instructions. Don't let them go. Guard them, for they are the key to life. Proverbs 4:21. Don't lose sight of them. Don't lose sight of my instructions. Let them penetrate deep into your heart, for they bring life to those who find them and healing to their whole bodies. Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. Your heart, which is deceitful above all else, will lead your whole life down a track. Don't base decisions on how you feel. You can't do that. The feelings will lead you astray. Don't lose sight of the instructions. Let them penetrate deep within your heart. Proverbs 4, continue, guard your heart above all else. It determines the course of your life. Avoid perverse talk, stay away from corrupt speech. What do I do while I'm waiting? I'm acknowledging my role, what I'm supposed to be doing, and I start becoming intentional with what I am doing. All right, my role is to sit here and wait for the Lord to speak. I'm going to be intentional of how I do that. Number 3, I'm going to be intentional. And the way that I'm going to be intentional is by not operating in conversations that don't build good things in my life. I'm frustrated with my wife. I'm not going to engage in conversations with people who talk negatively about my wife. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to engage in conversation with somebody else who's speaking negatively about their wife. I'm not going to do that. I am keeping my eyes centered. You have terrible twos. Parents talk about terrible twos. I'm not having a conversation if you talk about terrible twos. I love transitioning twos, testing twos, where they're trying to figure out what's right and what's not. They're not sinful. They're trying to figure out when you said no, what did you say no to? They're not sinful. A kid isn't sinful yet, but they are because they're sinful by nature. But many times when Aaliyah was told the other day, don't touch something. She didn't touch it. She blew at it. And they said, now Aaliyah, we asked you not to touch it. Bless her heart. She said, I didn't touch it. See, to an individual who might have a pure heart, might not recognize that you're asking them to stop. They could be saying, you're giving me a new creative way how to do something. This is okay, so I can't do it that way, but I can think of a new way how to do it, and it's going to be okay, and it's going to be funny, and everybody's going to laugh, and it's going to be funny, and then they get in trouble for it. Bless their hearts. Waiting. It's challenging. Acknowledge your role and be intentional. It says, mark out a straight path. What do I do while I'm waiting? I got to mark out this straight path. Now, for those who have been on this field, and as grass grows, our soccer lines fade. So every day, I'm going back and I'm making sure this line doesn't fade. God is moving, and while he is moving, I don't know how long I'm going to wait. But what I will do is make sure that those lines don't get blemished. The lines of where God is calling me, the parameters as he is setting before me, I'm going to make sure that these lines don't start to waver and become gray. I'm going to make sure they are marked out straight so that my feet know where I'm supposed to go, so that I'm in a safe environment, and so I don't get sidetracked. This is Proverbs 4:27. Don't get sidetracked. Keep your feet from following evil. Don't get sidetracked. What is the goal? What am I trying to accomplish? I'm waiting on the Lord. That's what I'm trying to accomplish. I'm waiting on direction, and I'm not going to get sidetracked. Number three was to intentionally move in and through faith. Intentionally move. Philippians 2:12. Dear brothers, you always followed my instructions when I was with you. And now that I am away, it is even more important. Work hard to show the results of your salvation. Be intentional. Be intentional that you're not just talking about waiting for Jesus, but you're showing that you're waiting for Jesus. Be intentional. I would play Melody, the guitar, in my room 2 o'clock in the morning, and it'd wake everybody up, and they would get mad at me, and I would cuss them out. Leave me alone, Ceci. I hate you. Just a ripper, a new one. Mom would say, come do the dishes. I said, no! I'm spending time with Jesus. Leave me alone. Well, Guillermo, I got to be intentional. If you are spending time in your room and you are saying, I need time to go pray, I need to wait for the Lord, be intentional with your response. I want to give you the sentence. This is what you say. If a parent calls you out of the room, if a spouse wants to talk, hey, right now, I'm waiting on the Lord and I'm being intentional to hear from his Spirit. Well, let's talk about it. Right now, I'm waiting on the Lord and I'm being intentional to hear the Spirit. I'm going to say it again if you need to write it down. Right now, I'm waiting on the Lord, and I'm being intentional. I'm being intentional. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to discredit or devalue you. The words that come out of my mouth, I want them to be Christ-like, and I want you to understand them. So I'm being intentional right now. Intentional. Intentionality is key. For God is working in you, giving you the desires and the power to do what pleases him. This is the continuation of that verse. Do everything without complaining and arguing so that no one can criticize you. Live clean, innocent lives as Christ would live, as children of God, shining the bright lights in a world full of crooked and perverse people. Hold firmly to the word of life. Then on the day of Christ's return, Paul would be proud that you ran the race. What I normally do is I think through, if I move prematurely, what will that unlock? If I speak prematurely, what does that unlock? I'm waiting on the Lord, but sometimes loving and concerning people just dig a little, or they spark. Like, now I have to say something. Is what I'm about to say going to unlock peace, or is it going to unlock punishment for me? Is what I'm about to say going to unlock prosperity, or is it gonna unlock some more debt? Before you do or say whatever you're going to say, just ask yourself the question, if I do this prematurely without waiting, does it unlock blessing, peace, prosperity, good personality, and excitement? Or will it unlock strongholds in my life? Will I be allowing demons to come into my life? Will I be allowing depression and stress and anxiety? All right, so I'm going to wait a little longer, because the last thing I want to do is to unlock the wrong door. See, when you understand the purpose of waiting, I don't want to just unlock anything. So I'm going to wait, because I want to unlock the right thing in my life. Number four, and we're done. Trust him. Trust him. And these spell out the word wait, worship, acknowledge, be intentional, the I, and then trust, T. Wait. Proverbs 3 verse 5, trust in the Lord with some of your heart. Thank you for laughing there. It's on the screen here soon. You'll be able to see it says all of your heart. If you want a new tattoo, you can join Rebecca. It's a 2-for-1 deal on Halloween, I believe, and you can get the word all tattooed on the back shoulder. And all, trust in the Lord with all your heart. The challenge is many believers only trust with some. So then only some is unlocked, not the fullness that Paul urges us to walk in, the fullness of salvation. Only some is unlocked. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. Don't be impressed with your own wisdom. Instead, fear the Lord and turn away from evil. Then you will have healing for your body and strength for your bones. Waiting is trusting. We can wait because we can trust. The other day, Aubrey pushed pause in her day. She posted online how she paused her day to take the kids out and about. Aubrey pauses a lot during the day. And for a person who doesn't have a pause button, I can very easily get frustrated. How many pauses do you need during a day? But I trust Aubrey. I trust that she knows how to pause, when to pause, and the necessity to pause when life needs a pause. Trust is key, and it's easier to wait when you can trust. And the challenge in most relationships why people don't want to wait is because they don't trust that the person will actually deal with the issue. So it's harder to wait in a conversation if you don't ever think you're going to have the conversation. It's harder to wait for somebody to do a task if you don't ever think they're going to come back and do the task. It's hard to wait. It's hard to wait if trust is broken. So then you have to ask yourself, has trust been broken from me to the Father? And is that why I'm not waiting on him? And if the trust was broken, it's not because he didn't do what he was supposed to do. It's because we missed what he was doing in the waiting. If I can pick on Barbara some more, I'm only going to pick on her until she gives birth. She walked miles. Ridiculous. And many will show her grace. Many will clear the seat for her to sit down. Many will bring out fans for her, keep her cool. Many will ask her, do you need help carrying anything? Many will come alongside her and pamper her. I hope they are. Are they? Do you feel loved by everybody here? Excellent. Because they can see God is developing something within her. Can you imagine if we could look at each other and say, man, God is developing something in you. God is developing something in you, Melody, so I am going to give you a minute. I'm going to wait because I can see God is doing something in your life. See, we get it with the pregnant woman. None of you wait for guys who got the belly. Some of you got to wait. Some of you have to push pause and learn how to wait and see that God is doing something. And the Bible talks about, and I'm not coming against you. I don't have anybody in my mind, but the Bible comes against a nagging woman that is like a dripping faucet that pierces through, produces destruction and agony. And I'm just saying, can we learn how to wait? Doesn't always have to be a woman. Maybe it's a man. Maybe it's a boss. But if we as believers can unlock the ability to recognize that Victoria can hear from the Spirit and he can be speaking to her in her room, and if she is called to come clean, 3 more minutes in the Word, then come. I don't want to rob my kids from being in the Word, but I asked you 4 times to do this. You are going to do this. 3 minutes with the Word. And you got to wrap that up, and you got to come do what I'm asking you to do. As parents, we got to learn how to wait. As spouses, we have to learn how to wait. As employers, man, we got to learn how to wait. Like a pregnant woman, you would show grace. I hope some of you would. You don't know how your employees show up to work. I had staff that would come in losing their parents, staff who would come in lost their spouse. MasterCard doesn't care. They need their money. So they would show up to work. And if I didn't have the eyes of Christ to see and to recognize and to wait, you're fired. I'm not going to tolerate this. Not recognizing that they were grieving and crying the whole way, trying to carry the weight, the new waiting that they're going to stay in. No, I'm called to wait, and I'm called to wait, and I want to make sure that I wait appropriately. Can we learn to wait on people like we wait on the Lord?